Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the first time here at Not in Hall of Fame that we've ever sort of called possibly an emergency meeting. Evan and I were scheduled to do our regular Hall of Fame show, and Chris and I were going to do one earlier, but there wasn't all that much. Well, there was a few things to talk about, but we thought we were going to maybe hold off on that till maybe next week when our friend Dave Whitlock could join us. But then something happened 4 hours ago as we're recording this. Word got out from Don Van Natta that Bill Belichick did not make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're not completely sure why. Theories have run amok. One was that an unnamed voter in confidence said that Bill Polian was very active in that, saying that he should wait a year for penance. Bill Polian came out and said, that is not the case. I voted for him. What's true, what's not true, we don't know. But before we sort of begin, I'm just going to introduce all the people who are with us, and then I'm going to do a quote from Mike Sando, one of the actual voters, and I think he sums it up very well. So I'm joined by Evan Nolan.
I'm sorry. I've been holding that one in. Go ahead.
Well, I thought it was a good sum up, but okay.
Yeah, no. I was just the cackle. I just had to cackle.
All good. Evan Nolan, the cackling Jack Silverstein, Chicago's favorite sports historian, who also cackles once in a while. Ron Katz and Chris Mouradian. Gentlemen, I got to put on my Charles Nelson Riley glasses. And this is from Mike Sando, a Hall of Fame voter. I'm going to read off what he said, and then we're just going to go right from there. From Mike. I'm a Hall of Fame voter who saw Belichick as a slam dunk. I don't know anything about voting results, but if this is true, and we'll find out officially next week, the question is, how could this happen? Before I list the possibilities, understand this, and this is an aside because I think a lot of people who might be watching this may not understand this yet. I think all the voters do this year. Last year, they probably did not. Back to Sando. Belichick, Kraft, Craig, and Anderson and Greenwood are competing for 1 to 3 spots separate from the 15 modern era finalists. 50 voters pick 3 of the 5. Between 1 and 3 make it, 40 plus votes needed for anyone besides top vote getter to make it. So it's a zero-sum game. Huge change made in 2025. 250 total votes to go around 5 candidates with a high bar for clearance. Now we count the potential ways Belichick might get fewer than 40 votes, even when 40 plus on a committee think he's a Hall of Famer. Let's say 4 or 5 voters who were strong advocates for specific senior players figured Belichick was going to make it regardless, so they funneled votes to competing candidates in hopes of boosting them over the 40 vote threshold. Let's say a few voters prioritize senior players on the thinking that Belichick will be back in the room next year, while the players on the ballot this year might disappear into the senior pool forever. Let's say a few voters found Spygate cheating disqualifying. Let's say a few voters protested new rules, making coaches eligible 1 year after retiring instead of 5. Whatever the case, I love this line the best, whatever the case, I would see this as a repudiation of the new voting rules implemented for 2025, not of Belichick or any candidate not making. There will be changes to the process, I predict. I believe somebody whose name rhymes with Sack Gilverstein said this would happen.
Yeah, what a funny night.
Glasses are off, and actually since that time,
Nostradamus.
Yeah,
Nostradamus a year ago.
13 voters have said that they voted for him,
including Bill Polian.
Yeah, that's not a spreadsheet that was put together, but yes.
I would like to wait and see what else comes out and who else has things that they remember about Bill Polian, because Bill Polian would absolutely do something like this if he thought it was appropriate, if he thought it was, the case warranted it. I mean, this is somebody who said that Terrell Owens and Randy Moss should not be in the Hall of Fame because he wouldn't want them on his team. It's someone who we know was calling to push down Jim Tyrer last year, and has been pretty forward about his views. I believe it, but sure, everyone's, due to be believed, but I just think what's the worst decision? Not giving Marshawn the ball or not just voting for Bill Belichick first ballot?
So I here's my full disclosure of being biased. As everyone knows, I got it here on my chest. In the history of the Patriots being a dominant franchise, so we're going to go from this century, like 2000 and beyond, right? There's been no bigger antagonist to the Patriots on everything than Bill Polian. If you guys remember, after the Pats won their third Super Bowl in 4 years,
Yeah, the catch rules.
they interviewed Teddy Bruschi on the field. Do you guys remember what he said?
No.
He said, "You can change the rules all you want. We're still going to win. That's 3," right? He was referring to Bill Polian's and Mike Martz to a certain extent, crying over the fact that the Patriots defenders were just too physical with his offensive weapons. And he spent the last, well, he was fired by the Colts in 2011, I believe. So whether it gives him the past 15 years, give or take, on various networks, just undermining every single thing he could possibly do when it comes to the Patriots. His teams have 4 players. His Colts team has 4 players in the Hall of Fame plus Tony Dungy, right? The Patriots, who have 6 championships, have 2, and 3 if you include Randy Moss, who's there for 4 years but never won a championship, and Junior Seau, who was there for a cup of coffee, right? We got Tyler and Richard Seymour, and that is it. He is a pox on discourse when it comes to the most successful franchise of this century. And if what like, of all the people they could have named who is a problem with this, he would have been, if you can give me one guess, it would have been Bill Polian. And I'm not shocked by this. I think I told you this, Kirk, back in October when we did our draft of who we thought were getting the various Halls of Fame.
Yep.
I took Robert Kraft first over Belichick. And everyone, when we've been going through this, everyone's been telling me, no, Belichick's in, Kraft isn't. I'm like, there's no way Belichick is much less likely to get in.
I scoffed at that. I was incorrect.
Yeah, because Kraft, the 2 main scandals we talk about when it comes to the Patriots are Spygate and Deflategate. Deflategate is the second stupidest scandal in the history of the NFL, only stupider than StarCaps, as I bring up all the time.
That was just Spygate revenge.
Yeah, it's 100% Spygate revenge, right? Like Deflategate is crap. What people forget in this whole thing, the NFL went to the court. They were sued by Kraft, right? Kraft sued for all this other stuff with the Patriots. The NFL admitted in court at the base level they had absolutely no evidence that anything happened. And that the Patriots won at the lower level and then went to the appeals court under Section 44 of the collective bargaining agreement. It's basically said that the commissioner can suspend anybody for any reason at any time without any proof. And they got overturned on appeal, not on the basis of the facts, but because that rule existed. And the fact, Deflategate wasn't anything because we never found out how, remember they tested all the footballs next year, right? And we never found out how any of them did. Believe me, if there's a problem, we wouldn't know, right? Spygate is a legitimate thing that the Patriots were punished for. What people misunderstand what they were punished for. They were not allowed to have filming on the sidelines. They were allowed to have filming in the stands, right? They filmed on the sidelines. They were told 6 days before they filmed on the sidelines not to film on the sidelines. And then they filmed on the sidelines. Now, whether you think there's a master advantage at sidelines versus like 3 rows up in stands is immaterial. They were told not to do it specifically and then did it. That's Belichick. Kraft isn't the one who's like, hey, we should have somebody on the sidelines. That's a Belichick thing, right? So Kraft is 84 years old. His team has been to the Super Bowl 11 times in his 32 years of ownership. That's less than 1 out of every 3 years the Patriots in the Super Bowl under his ownership. He's negotiated the last two possible labor impasses and the last 3 TV deals. Like, he's the most important owner in the league who's not in the Hall of Fame. There's no way he's not getting in, particularly with this news we heard today. But if this is Polian, he's a bitter old man who lost the game 45-7 in 2003 and has not gotten over it. Sorry, I'm also drinking wine out of my Game of Thrones Valar Morghulis glass. I'm ready for tonight.
No, hey, listen, Evan, of course, you make all the good points. I'm not like crazy about owners, period, but if you're going to elect owners, Robert Kraft is at the top of the list for all the reasons that you just said. I think that if this selection committee had a better track record of working the margins of the ballot and like making more nuanced decisions, that I would be more inclined to roll with them. If they had some, big chess move here and they were like, listen, obviously Belichick, but we need to do this, this, and this for these reasons. If it was more holistic, maybe, but Belichick's one of those guys you just like don't sit. You don't wait. He's got one of, how many people have a better Hall of Fame resume of all time than him? Like like Kirk and I were counting them, maybe 5 or 6. They go either way. You'd have to say that it'd be pointless. I mean, not many. He's just like one of those surefire lock of locks.
Coaching, you're talking Hallis and Shula, maybe. That's it, right?
I would throw Lombardi on there.
Oh,
Lombardi, Brown. Okay, but
Brown. Okay, so we got 5.
Brady, Rice, not many.
No.
So I think that this is a pretty big miss by the Hall, and it's one of those that this is like the eye test miss. Like our group is qualified to eye test some analytical misses to be able to say this is like wrong for these reasons because this will reverberate in these years. Also, have you considered, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is like a Randy Moss catch. Like anybody can see how obvious this one is.
Mm-hmm. In the history of all of this, and I think some of you have been following this a little longer than I have, but I can't recall news. Granted, news doesn't always come out like this, but there's always leaks ahead of time. But I have never seen so many voters almost rush to panic. Wasn't me.
Well, because maybe it wasn't 39 of them.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
But you're absolutely right. And they know it's because they know how stupid it looks. It's the sort of thing that sounds halfway smart on the day. And then when you see the results, it's, 1 for Martin, 2 for Martin. And you're like, oh, no.
That's why I switched everything around. Now I'm worried about my boy, Drew Brees. Nothing seems like a lock anymore.
Well, he can get in 2030.
Everybody likes Drew Brees.
I know the Saints had that Bountygate scandal. I'm sure that's going to somehow wipe off on Brees. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's going to keep Sean Payton out. He's now permanently ineligible, right?
Yeah. Well, that and not kicking it on apparently in the second quarter of this game against the Patriots. So,
and my thoughts on this real quick here. This is a big black eye on the Pro Football Hall of Fame that's going to be talked about on their biggest day on Super Bowl Sunday because they parade the selector or the elected new members out onto the field during the game. So that is going to be something that is going to be picked up by the normies, the people that don't follow this stuff as much as we do, and get into the general discourse among people. I mean, you're already starting to see it on X here tonight with people that are chiming in on this. Yeah, I mean, this, whoever was ringleader or whatever, if Bill Polian really was, whipping up votes against him and then it turns around and stabs him in the back and votes for him to, not have to take the fall. kind of a dick move. But at the end of the day, this is going to look bad on all the selectors because people that don't follow this as much as us are just going to look at all 50, get the names off the Hall of Fame website and hold all those people accountable, which is not the case. But yeah, this is a bad look for football, for the Hall of Fame. And again, too, on induction Saturday, they're going to be talking about who isn't there as opposed to who's there.
Yeah, my take on this is a little different than some of y'all's. First off, I don't hold the selectors culpable here. This is the Hall of Fame board making a change in its process when they didn't like what happened with Buddy Parker and what's his name, the wide receiver,
Art Powell.
Art Powell. They got upset with that. My understanding, if I'm piecing the chronology together, you know how I work with breadcrumbs. I get bits and pieces from different people, and then it all kind of comes together. It sounds like at the 2024 Hall of Fame weekend, the board met with some people, maybe some gold jackets. Those folks basically started screaming about they wanted to change the process. It all sucks. The board, which is run by maybe 2 or 3 people, and everyone else just kind of follows. And if you look at the board composition, there's a lot of people from the NFL teams that matter, which obviously that's how they get their money. So they want to keep those people happy. So they went and made this process change without even talking to historians like a John Turney, I don't believe was consulted, an Upton Bell or someone who knows the whole big picture, or even some of the reasonable selectors from over the years, like our friend Clark Judge, like Peter King, the people who, Ira Kaufman, the ones who really care about getting it right. And they just made these changes. The head of the snake here is having 5 candidates up for like a slate vote, when you should not have a coach and an owner competing against 3 seniors. And I think a lot of the selectors feel like an obligation that the players made the game. Now, there's nothing to say you keep Bill Belichick out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but there are selectors who probably were like Kraft or Belichick. And Evan, to your point, Mr. Kraft will be 85 years old at the selection ceremony. At the induction ceremony. So there might have been some who were like, well, if I don't vote for Bill, he'll get enough votes, and then we can get Kraft in. It might have been something along those lines. And I think there was some maneuvering behind the scenes, maybe to show Bill, like for being mean to them over the years or something crazy. We saw it happen with Terrell Owens. So I just look at it a little differently there. I know of a selector back in 2020 who got
and who
trouble.
was the big voice against Terrell Owens, or who was among them?
Well, yeah, no,
Okay.
and it happened also, I believe, in 2020 for the 2024 class. I've heard that person also bandied about specific to some of the uprisings that happened there.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for the selectors who truly care and try to get it right and are trying to be ethical about this. And just one thing that I've learned in the last couple of weeks, there are some of the, we get really upset about this recency bias that's happening for the players especially. And there are some selectors who've been there for a while, and they've seen the players in the 60s and 70s, 80s, and some of these new selectors haven't. And they're holding on to being selectors because they feel an obligation to the greatness legacy of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's really difficult for them. It's really ripping out everything that they put into this. Where there are a lot of older selectors who are like, I'm about ready to just give up, and there are some new selectors who've been asked who are saying, I don't want any part of this. So this is on Jim Porter and that board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing that's happening with the modern folks. Belichick should be first ballot.
Mm-hmm.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Mount Rushmore of NFL coaches. But this is on the board and Jim Porter for playing whatever games they're playing, doing the process wrong, just much like what you see in politics today and before. You don't just go in and remove something and change things up without thinking it through. We did them, Jack. Tell everyone the mock that we did last year and the mock that we did this year. The results were predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could have figured that out if they just thought about it and were thoughtful about it.
You know who did a better job than voters? Historians. At the obvious choice of Bill Belichick.
Yep. We've had those conversations. I think Ron, Jack, the two of you more than perhaps I have. Well, definitely more than I have. But my big thing is, if you're going to employ all these historians to do that, how it's not a direct elect,
that's obviously a mistake, because they clearly have shown that a lot of other voters don't have any interest in learning any of these names and learning their cases, which is silly, because for the most part, most sports writers today who cover the NFL wouldn't ever say, well, I don't have any interest in learning how the team I cover's, offense works or defense works. I don't have any interest in learning, the third or fourth string linebacker in training camp. I don't have any interest in those things. But, you'll hear, well, that's their job and this isn't their job. It's a big honor. It is a responsibility. It is it's an honor for the players, but it's an honor for you to be able to be a part of that and bestow that honor upon people. So the idea when they came out last year and said, well, who's even heard of Ralph Hay other than historians? To be here in year 2 and not have people figure out that you can't mess around even now the way that you could, a few years ago, because the math doesn't allow it. Yeah, if everyone was voting in an up-down vote in a vacuum on Belichick, he'd probably get in. Yeah. Ron, you said you think that this really started at the weekend of 2024?
Well, yeah, when
we're all suspects.
When you had Buddy Parker and Art Powell get rejected,
it was Evan in the ballroom.
Yeah, well, that triggered the board. That triggered the board, obviously, because they're like embarrassed with egg on their face. But I heard there were certain people that were really against Parker and trying to conjure up some things that were circumstantial and just very unfair. And don't forget, the board and the Hall of Fame had egg on their face, because you had two families with deceased relatives who are finally going to be on, their lives and their accomplishments are about to be honored. And for 6 months, they were like, oh, this is really cool. We're getting announced at the Super Bowl and Hall of Fame. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, sorry, you didn't make it.
Yeah, it's 3 straight years, Ron. It's 3 straight years where arguably the biggest story about the Hall of Fame class is stuff that has nothing to do with the actual people who were inducted.
Yeah, just to add one thing too, to piggyback on what Chris said, it's not just at Super Bowl Sunday that this will be an indictment. As someone who actually San Fran will be my 20th Super Bowl week. I've only been to 2 games, but I love doing the stuff on the periphery. One of the things that happens the day after the announcement, they parade the Hall of Famers on Media Row, Radio Row. And so you have everyone wanting to interview them. And, you'll have the Hall of Fame people, you'll have those who've been elected, and it will be a firestorm of media saying, well, hey, what the hell is your problem? Where's Bill Belichick? And especially with the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Well,
if there's no Kraft or Belichick, like, what the hell is your problem?
Yeah, well, here's the thing too, Ron. So what happens, because I put out on our thing, I think 5 will get in because I'm an optimist. I've added Roger Craig. I honestly, if Kraft gets in and Belichick just missed, the odds that any of the 3 seniors getting in are low. I'm just hoping Roger Craig. I think Craig's an easier vote for people than Anderson or Greenwood at this point. But what happens is, what if we have Kraft, Brees, Fitzgerald, and Kuechly, and that's it, right? Vinatieri of those teams, who just handed out the AFC Championship trophy to them on Sunday, isn't there, right? Belichick isn't there. Like the whole league is against us thing is going to permeate the whole tenor of the Super Bowl, honestly. And God forbid somehow here's the thing, Jack or Ron, what if nobody got the 80%? What happens then?
One makes it.
They run a series of tiebreakers until they get one up.
So then Kraft is almost definitely in. But there's
no.
You think that
It could be Roger Craig. Don't forget, and this is something that goes back to other Super Bowl weeks, especially when Paul actually pointed out when they actually met in person. But there have been times where there are a bunch of guys that are kind of about the same, you know, give or take, and they say, okay, the Super Bowl's in X city, hey, Tampa. So that was John Lynch's time to be announced. He's got all family and friends around. And where's the Super Bowl this year?
Roger Craig's
San
home?
Francisco.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Clark made a very good Clark Judge made a very good point on our selection broadcast that hey, look at the 49ers offensive teams from the dynasty. Who's in the Hall of Fame besides Joe Montana? So that's a pretty good argument for him over some of the other seniors. But you know,
Yeah.
who knows?
But put it this way, let's just say it is Roger Craig, which I am not crapping on Roger Craig. He should have been a long time ago. But if you have Roger Craig, I mean, Brees and Fitzgerald are getting it, right? So I'm going to say Kuechly's probably the next guy.
That was ours.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I have a hard time seeing Torrey Holt or Willie Anderson or Terrell Suggs making the jump, or Kevin Williams. Thank God he at least made the finalist list. Like I have trouble seeing any of them. I think Kuechly's your third one. But if you have only four people get in, and none of them are Patriots, that's going to be bad. That's going to be very, very bad. And that is going to be Hall of Fame. Like, none of us went to the Hall of Fame ceremony. Did you go last year? I know Kirk and I didn't go last year.
No,
Kirk's definitely going this year because Drew Brees is getting in.
I'm boycotting. It's in this
Yeah, a
process.
lot of us boycotted last year. Like, I can't even imagine.
What if they didn't vote in Brees?
Well, I'm not going.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, last year's class was so strange to me. Like Antonio Gates, no issue. I was never a big Jared Allen guy, but I have no trouble in being in the Hall of Fame. I was shocked that Eric Allen was the third one. I'm pleasantly surprised. But it was just a weird class, particularly since there are only three of them. If they don't put put it this way, if they don't put Belichick or Brees in to this Hall of Fame, just disband everybody. They're all out. They're just all out.
Can you imagine though if we would have said like 4 years ago, you know what? I really miss David Baker.
Well, Jim Porter did a lot of good things in the beginning. Instead of, but the money was talking there. They were losing a lot of money during the pandemic, with all the projects and construction they're trying to do. And Jim has a business background and he got the process changed. I lobbied him. I was one of many about getting more seniors to get through before, they're posthumous. He got that in, but then they just panicked after 2 years.
Yeah, I remember he was instrumental in increasing that. It used to be one senior that was nominated, and it was up to two, and I think three. So I remember when he first was introduced, one of the things he said was he wanted to get more cases heard, not necessarily more people elected, but more cases heard, because there was a lot of talk of people that were in the abyss that they've never been in front of the committee before. So kind of good and bad, it's good that they're being heard, but it seems like now we're not getting the people whose cases are being heard advanced into the hall, which, I don't know that this is going to happen, but we had Buddy Parker get voted down 2 years ago. We had Mike Holm get voted down last year. We got Belichick voted down this year, supposedly. I think Belichick, stays at the top, but both Parker and Holmgren now go back to you would think they go back behind somebody like a Shanahan or a Tom Coughlin or possibly George Seifert, and just delays their selection process. They're a chance to get back into the room again by at least a year, and none of those guys are young as well. We talk about Kraft being in his 80s. Seifert's, I think, older than him. I know Holmgren's pushing near 80. Coughlin, I think, is mid 70s. So, again, you start to play the game here with these candidates that, okay, we're gonna be super strict now about who gets in here, and now we've just swung the other way around on it, and it's just too restrictive, and people that should be in there are getting bypassed.
Yeah. And as much as we talk about getting more people in the room, Steve Wisniewski just fell off all decade 1990s, never got a hearing. Richmond Webb's off next year, all decade 1990s, never got a hearing, right? Ben Coates fell off last year, all decade 1990s, never got a hearing.
So did Neil Smith.
Yeah.
So did Neil Smith, right?
And there was one other. Who am I missing?
Leslie O'Neill?
No, he was
Oh,
maybe
he
it was
might have
last
been
year.
Bennett.
Cornelius Bennett.
Cornelius Bennett.
Yes,
was the
Cornelius.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Like Hardy
I'm sorry.
Nickerson, Levon Kirkland, Carnell Lake are coming down the end. Gary Anderson's coming down the end. Like, again, not that necessarily just because you make an all-decade team should you be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not claiming that, but you at least have someone talk about whether you should be in the Hall of Fame. I would imagine if you were on an all-decade team at a non-necessarily like punter, kick returner position.
And I think that the voters have shown that they need to do that, because the senior trend recently has been a lot of guys who were never in the room as modern.
Mhm.
And that's why their cases look so bizarre. And people are like, where did this person come from? Well, you didn't talk about him for 20 years. And then it turns out the first time you got him in the room, people were like, oh, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Albert Lewis.
Yeah.
Albert Lewis was nearly one. Yeah, but I'm thinking of all these guys were never in the room as moderns. Howley, Klecko, Riley, McMichael, Powell, if he had gotten in. None of those guys were in the room as moderns.
I don't think Sharp was either.
Sharp
You-
was the other one. Yep.
You had a Kuchenberg was an 8-time finalist.
Sure. Kuchenberg,
And-
Hayes, Greenwood,
and-
the other
yeah.
side.
Yeah, and to your point too about Wisniewski, the guy was like an 8-time first team All Pro, I believe.
Yeah.
No, 2-time first team,
Oh,
8-time
okay.
second team.
okay.
Or
Well,
maybe
but here's
6-time
the thing.
second team.
Here's the thing with someone like him, it's like if you compare to Yanda or Evans or some of those guys, he's very, very close in terms of the metrics. I mean, it just defies the logic. The one solution, and we've talked about this a few times, is they need to, at year 15 of the 20-year modern eligibility, have a watch list that they publish of those players who have who have accomplished a certain threshold of accomplishments in their career. For example, combined 5 All Pros or 4 All Pros or some, all decade.
Yeah, sure. Some certain triggers in a
Yeah.
non-voting meeting.
Yeah, and just, hey, don't forget about these guys. Because like Albert Lewis got a lot of consideration in year 20, and then senior year 1, I believe he was a semifinalist. It was like, well, it just makes no sense. Here in Denver, there's a gentleman named Jim Sacamano who did get the Hall of Fame Award of Excellence as part of his PR work. And his favorite thing, well, Randy Gradishar for all these years was, look, the guy hasn't played in like 35, 40 years. Like he didn't make another tackle. He didn't make another interception. He didn't get another All Pro. Like, come on. Like if the guy's a Hall of Famer, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And they have to address that, especially with a Hall of Fame that was established in 1963 for a league that started in 1920.
All right,
And-
let's go around the table. If you could make one change to the process first, and maybe none of the other changes you have in your head ever get made. If you could make one change first, what would it be?
If I can go first, something I already mentioned. If you're gonna have that senior committee, there's whatever they come up with is direct elect. Period.
And the other 2 committees as well?
Oh, for coaches and contributors,
Yes.
I don't feel as strongly about that because of the time frame involved and the sense of urgency. So
Yeah.
I'd like that also, but for seniors, if that's all I could get, I'll take it.
Yeah, that was gonna be my suggestion too. So is direct elect for the subcommittees there. The moderns keep the panel there where they debate and get them, but direct elect seems to be the best route to truly identify and honor those that deserve it by the people that have actually done the research.
I say you have to meet for semifinals. You have to meet for the semifinalists and have that vote first. So you have all the people in the room. I don't care if it's a freaking 16-hour day. It's one day a year, and then you have another one for the thing. But anyone who's a semifinalist has to be debated, and you vote there to get from 25 to 15. That way you at least have a conversation about some of these people who have been sitting on the sidelines. Again, Wisniewski, I remember Wisniewski again, Patriots fan, not a Raiders fan, right? Wisniewski was a semifinalist 3 times total. Only 3 times in all that entire time period, right? But if you get someone who's a semifinalist, you have to have the discussion ahead of time with the semifinalists. At least then we're going to have a situation where someone like Wisniewski is in there, and why the heck are we wasting a spot on not pick on Eli Manning, but pick on Eli Manning? Manning has no chance of getting into this hall this year. 0. None. Right?
Correct.
So why are we even bothering with him in the room and not having Richmond Webb have at least a conversation?
All right, Ron, what's yours?
One thing that involves 4 people and maybe a 5th person, Frank Monaco, Johnny Serpilla, Mike Davis, Barbara Bennett, and maybe Jim Porter. You're all gone. You're fired. We don't need you. You burn it down and you rebuild it so that it's a fair process, so you're not having posthumous inductions, so that all-time greats are actually being considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in a fair and equitable way, and that your selectors, who for the most part do a great job and really care about the legacy of football, are respected and voices heard. And those 4 names that I just read are the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Ron came out swinging.
Yes. No, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Oh, sorry.
And it's hurting these people who deserve to be in there to enjoy it with their families, this honor while they're alive. Something has to give.
Also, Deion Sanders is allowed to make policy. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I can tell you something later, offline.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
no problem.
mine. All right. First of all, for the record, I agree with everything you guys said. My one change would be a variation on Evans, and it would be that the voters have to have one non-voting meeting a year at the start of the cycle where you discuss every newly eligible candidate, who hits those marks that Ron was talking about. Everyone who's at year 10, who's never been a finalist. Everyone who's at year 15, who's never been a finalist. Same idea as Evans, different way to do it.
Mhm.
Don't know who's, anything would be better. But what we've all found was that because our group was having these conversations, 3 or 4 times in a cycle, we all started to learn the arguments and learn where the passion points were. And you start to see, all right, no one's really excited about this person. One person is super excited about this person, and that is compelling, and let's hear that out. And then over time, it starts to build because you really listen to who's excited, who's passionate about somebody. So same idea as Evans, the Tom Nailin. Yes.
The Tom
exactly.
Nailin effect. Yeah.
Absolutely. So same idea as Evans, but a little different. But that would be it. Have more meetings, direct elect for historians, and I think Ron's plan is arson. So I think those are 3 ideas.
Oh,
No. To the board.
One. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
To the board members, not the physical Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
it's a great Hall of Fame, but you have to have people changes. This is unacceptable.
When they hear arson, that I think they really mean it. One other thing, though, too, and I know that we've had a chance to talk to Clark about that, and we asked him with all of this happening on Zoom, there is a bit of an impact. You can't necessarily read the room. It's hard to be as passionate. I know that we've done everything on Zoom because we're all in different parts of the country. If we were the actual electors, I know we would make the effort to actually do it all in person. And at this point, I think at this point, I think we all understand why for 2 years you didn't. That's done now. If you're making it a commitment to be a part of this, make that full commitment.
Yeah, and if you can't make that commitment, bye.
Yeah, and some of them legitimately can't because you've got a lot going on, and I totally respect that. And so maybe that shouldn't be something you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a full-time, following your team full-time, writing for them, all the meetings that go on that you have to cover, things like that. Yeah, it is a commitment. Yeah, maybe it needs
but
to be
also yeah, all right. Okay. We're also talking about football. We're talking about football reporters knowing about football.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They
not
should.
being asked. They're not being asked to know about some other sport. They're not being asked to know about some other art form. They're being asked to know about the very, very greatest players who played football while they were covering football, many of whom they voted for in all pro votes and all decade votes and MVP votes and offensive player of the year votes and defensive player of the year votes in their capacity as professionals who watch football. I don't think it's that big of an ad to be like, that's not my job. What isn't your job? Talking about football. I can't be expected to know who Kevin Williams was. I just voted for him 5 years in a row for first team all pro, but that was 12 years ago, dude. What are you talking about right now? It's football. No one's asking you to go that far down the depth chart. These are the greatest of the greatest of the great. Show a little effort. It's not like you have to reset and learn 20 names every year. How many players who are become eligible in a given year really deserve a conversation, but are so under the radar that you wouldn't already have some cursory knowledge, if not more than that? It's not 20 guys become eligible who you've never heard of. If you've heard of the best, it's not like they didn't know who Steve Wisniewski was. They just decided, all right, I'm not going to even talk about him. Or Neil Smith or Cornelius Bennett. That's the issue. And then when you get them on the other side, and all of a sudden the first argument for Steve McMichael carries the day, or the first argument that they've ever heard for Ken Riley carries the day, and it's well, maybe you should have brought him in. Maybe your assumptions are not as rock solid as you think they are. I mean, the other one, and I was known growing up for being the playground quarterback who would draw such elaborate plays in the sand or on my hand that finally someone would yell at me and go, everybody go out. So I recognize that I can be a little bit elaborate, but put year caps on the candidates. If you are a finalist 3 years in a row and you are not elected, you are not eligible for the finals the next year. And you can still run the voting the exact same way, and you just pluck people out. Set a cap where only, let's say 5 players in their first 5 years of eligibility can be in the finals in a year. Why do you need more than 5? You're not going to elect more than 5. So why do you need 8, 9 players in their first 3 years of eligibility, all in the finals, all taking up the same amount of spaces every single year, taking up the same slot? There's nothing more to say about Reggie Wayne. Maybe if you took a year off, you'd figure out an angle and you'd have something more to say.
That's the only thing that they could take that would work from the Rock Hall, because the Rock Hall does that, where someone will be up a couple years in a row,
really?
And they'll give them a year off and bring them back. There's a time where they were so desperate to the Rock Hall does a lot of stuff badly. Kirk and I talk about sometimes.
Oh yes.
But one of the things that they do is for example, there's a time they weren't trying to get new wave bands or anything in. So they were rotating Depeche Mode, the Smiths, and the Cure until they got one in. The Cure got in, and then the other way. So Depeche Mode got in, then the Cure got in. The Smiths still aren't in, but they at least figured it out by rotating people through and giving people years off. Didn't help Chic, but There are other bands that at least got a shot because
then
they're
they
like, hey,
backdoored Nile Rodgers.
they backdoored Nile Rodgers in,
So
because that's again one of the bad things about the Rock Hall.
One of the
I think that of all of the major halls of the major American sports, I actually think Pro Football Hall of Fame probably does the best job. Like
Agreed.
I think that their mistakes are much more on the margins. I don't think that they have like foundational disastrous problems. I think that when they make mistakes, they are so avoidable that they stand out even more.
Yeah.
But I think like that, like for the most part, like they do a pretty good job. Like the people who don't get in, you know, they're at least they're not slam dunks. Like we might think they are, but I can understand like collectively. But I have a lot more positivity for the Pro Football Hall of Fame than the Naismith, for example, and certainly for Cooperstown, which I think is, you know, I don't care
have
about
some things to say about that after you guys take off. I have some feelings about those writers.
Yeah. So, all right, then last thing, because then I do well for me, anyways. Who do you think? Which candidate is going to suffer the most because of the voters not putting in Bill Belichick this year?
Are we
Amongst the current?
Open-ended question.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the general answer to that is all seniors. But in terms of just coaches,
Sure.
We'll put it this way. What do we think the line of coaches is? Because I think it's Belichick first, right? And then maybe it looks like they tried. I don't know if they'll go back to Holmgren. But
Shanahan.
I mean, for me, Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
Like the arguments you make for Eli Manning are just the arguments as to why Tom Coughlin should be in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
Right? They're like, oh, he beat Brady twice. No, he didn't. It's just like the Drake May didn't just beat C.J. Stroud. He played the Texans defense, right? The Giants defense beat Tom Brady. Who ran the Giants defense? Tom Coughlin. You want to make the argument for Justin Tuck to get in the Hall of Fame? It's a much better argument than Eli's. Anyway, sorry. But I'd say Coughlin. So we're going whoever fifth or sixth is. So George Seifert.
Yeah.
Seifert does not get in while he's alive, unless he lives to 100.
Right. Yeah. Coughlin, Holmgren,
Shanahan. I mean, Marty Schottenheimer's never getting in.
Well, and then when does Andy Reid retire?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well,
and then
Mike Tomlin just
Pete Carroll.
Did he retire or did he just
Run out of gas?
Is he coming back again at some point?
Yeah.
Because
how long do you guys think until they change these rules
next
back?
Yeah, next year.
I think it's gonna be next year.
I think this is going to be such. If you're right, Ron, again, and it's Roger Craig, and again, congratulations, Roger Craig should have been in a decade and a half ago, right? But if it's three guys and Roger Craig, and there's no Belichick, no Kraft, and I'm just throwing Vinatieri in there because he's the other Patriot, we are jerks. They call us massholes for a reason. That it's just, it will be relentless. It will be a relentless assault on that building or on the people in charge of that.
Well, just stand back. Evan, just stand back and watch the show because there's no escape. You know, a week from yesterday is Super Bowl opening night, which is the media night. You know Mike Vrabel and some of the others will be talking. They have press, even though honors is after that date, they have their daily press conferences in like a big ballroom kind of thing. They won't be able to escape the embarrassment of that. Mm-hmm. They just won't.
Vrabel, someone will ask Vrabel what he thinks about Belichick not getting in. Like a lot of people will ask him.
Yes, it's known already.
Yeah.
You're muted, Kirk.
And just think also.
Sorry. Yeah.
How did ESPN get this information?
Bill Polian.
Belichick gave it to him.
That's what I was going to actually ask, because do you think though, or maybe there's another thing to put here? Well, Belichick didn't do it. Jordan did, because
Jordan did.
Yeah. His press at all. But
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
It's not the worst thing, though, if you're the Hall and this happened, for this to get out now and get all of this anger out first, and then maybe you can sort of like focus more on the people who got in. Because did anyone check Jordan's social media? I know none of us follow her, I'm assuming. Well, I know I don't. I'm assuming the four of you don't either. Because do you think she would be the most vocal about all of this?
She will be.
Yeah. I was waiting to hear her speech, but okay, I'll have to wait a year.
Yeah, I mean, the sourcing in the Wickersham Van Natta ESPN story is sources close to Belichick. So yeah, Belichick gets a call, and the Hall can't keep them from leaks. I mean, they can only dictate it to selectors. They can't dictate it to the candidates, and they can't dictate it to NFL reporters who aren't also selectors. So you've got, Wickersham and Van Natta, who are two of the best. The Hall should bring them in as voters. Then they wouldn't be allowed to leak anything.
Yeah, well, another thing too, just for those of us those watching and the rest of you, just think of the logistics of it. Okay, it's not like in the past, like with the old process with David Baker, all of the finalists or semifinalists or whatever, unmodern, would be in a hotel room waiting for
right.
that knock. Okay, like I just saw Leroy Butler saying, "Well, he won't believe it till he actually sees that it happens at honors or whatever." But the thing is, this is the time where they have to be alerted, because those who have been elected need to make travel reservations for San Francisco, and those who aren't going need to be, they have to. Hey, I'm sorry you didn't make it.
Yeah.
And they're working on those elaborate videos for the quote unquote knock, because they got to have those so they can use that for the PR part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be like a virtual thing or an alumni or something like that.
So I just looked up Jordan Hudson on Twitter for you, Kirk, to see what the thing said. And the first thing was, how long till Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson team up with Pablo Torre to out every single person who didn't vote for him? So
love it.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think we've said our piece on this, but thank you guys.
I said this today. I can't believe today's a day where Shadur Sanders is first ballot Pro Bowler or first year Pro Bowler.
No.
What? I mean, no.
He was like a sixth alternate, eighth alternate.
Yep.
Like
first year he's in the Pro Bowl. That's all that matters.
They need a body to throw passes in a flag football game.
Yep. What that machine doesn't work? Make that a Pro Bowl selection. That would have had a higher passer rating than he had this year. Eventually, one day he very well could be a legit Pro Bowler. I have nothing against him. That'd be actually pretty cool. But that's
the greatest. It's the greatest award for Cleveland Browns since Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden.
The Colorado connection.
At least Tyler Huntley is not the worst Pro Bowl selection of all time anymore.
Well, guess what? Tim Tebow was an alternate, and they wanted him to go, but Bill Belichick's defense kind of gave him punctured lung and cracked ribs, and after the miracle against the Steelers, and Trevor Siemian was another one. I mean, they go down the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how far down the list did they have to go for this?
I mean, you got to figure Joe Burrow at least said no, right?
Right.
Bo Nix.
Yeah. Bo Nix, 100%. Well, Nix is injured, but he could have been like, yes. And then I can't go because I'm injured. So
he was a second alternate, I think. So
Nix 100% should have been the next choice after May.
Well, you have 1/3 of the vote is fans. So that might bump some guys up the list a little bit, but like sixth or eighth or seventh alternate, Aaron Rodgers would be like, no.
I guess at this point, yeah, Jack's got to head out. So maybe
I got to jump.
We probably wrapped up the section. Or does anyone have any more comments on this?
No, great discussion, and let's pressure the Hall of Fame to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the platform.
I'm sure no one's more upset about that than a lot of the selectors.
Yes. Well, it reflects on them.
Yeah.
And most of them are like, well, I want to vote for all five of them because they're all Hall of Famers. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on this at short notice. Chris, Ron, Jack, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirk.
Right.
Thank
Take
you.
care,
Thanks
guys.
for having me.
And hey, Chris,
Thanks, Evan.
great job getting Bonnie Blair. So
Oh, thanks, man.
Yes.
that was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking forward to watching that.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, boys.
Right.
Like,
Bye.
guys.
Okay, so now moving on, we're looking at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, let's do a palate cleanser before we do that, if you
We'll
don't
do a
mind.
palate cleanser? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, because I have some more things to say. I'm not out of wine yet, so I got some more things to
I
say.
got water going on. Can you believe it?
I have water too.
Oh, okay.
But I just like, I need something, and it's this port actually, and I specifically got out of my Game of Thrones Valar Morghulis, All Men Must Die glass for this, which I haven't drunk out of in years at this point. And I don't usually drink wine, but I have a bottle of port that's almost empty. I try not to keep extra bottles around, so it's only got 2 glasses of wine left. Let's just dump it, or by dump it I mean into my belly. But anyway, let's take a quick palate cleanser. We had actually 4 athletes have their numbers retired in the last 2 weeks. So let's just start with hockey. The first of those, we were back-to-back games, I believe, for the Red Wings. So on their game on the 12th, they retired the number of Sergei Fedorov, number 91. Do you have anything to say about Fedorov?
Yeah, it took too long, but only because I guess there was issues that he had with the organization, but very much well earned.
Yeah. So for you guys who are too young, Fedorov was 91, Eisman was 19, and they were ridiculous. Can I just put it that way? Fedorov was one of the greatest. Like, that whole time for hockey was so incredible anyway, but he was one of the greatest hockey players I ever saw. He played 1,200 games in the NHL, 483 goals, 696 assists for 1,179 points. So just absolutely incredible. Playoffs, scored 52 goals, 124 assists, 176 points, 183 games. Plus, he had 4 years in the KHL. 4 years at the beginning of his career in KHL, 3 at the end of his career in KHL. Very deserving.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to Fedorov. A little closer to home, then the Red Wings went to Boston, and they had another retirement ceremony, this one for Zdeno Chara.
Z-Man.
The Z-Man, number 33. That number has gone pretty well in Boston.
Yeah, guy's so tall he could have hung it himself without a ladder.
Yeah, that is true. As I've said, I never talked to Zdeno Chara. I've seen him once in person. It was when I was working the worst job I have ever had, which is I spent 2 weeks selling high-end cashmere sweaters at a Costco in Everett, Massachusetts, which is the most blue-collar town you could possibly imagine. At a Costco, $400 sweaters. I sold 14 in 2 weeks, and 13 were returned. But when I was
Really?
Yeah, it was the worst. I actually spent a lot of my time. I applied there at one point. There was that point in time, there was a reality show that's going to be happening for pirates to be on a pirate ship. And then if you got voted off, you had to walk the plank or got floated out to sea or whatever. It never made it all the way through, but I spent some time filling out the application for that. The only reality show I've ever applied to. But he came in with his wife, who's tiny. And I was just like, holy crap, that's a tall guy. I was like, wait a second. That's Zdeno Chara. It was like the day after he'd signed his big second contract with the Bruins. And I'm like, what are you doing in Costco in Everett? But there he was.
Playing cashmere sweater.
Yeah, he did not buy a cashmere sweater. He was not the one
to fit him.
Yeah, well, that's also possible. But yeah, a heck of a guy. There's a great video the Bruins put out. So before he got called on the ice, they're announcing all the other guys who are still alive, whose numbers are retired. And he's sitting in the green room, which is beige, with his 2 sons, and being like, hey, that's Johnny Busick. This is what he was good at. That's Rick Middleton, an incredible scorer. This all this stuff. Yeah, that's and it's just going through with everything, and it was amazing. And they're like, Z, we got to get you on the ice. I say, oh, okay, hold on. But he spent until like the last second watching him get announced and explaining to his kids why they're important to Boston sports, and it was awesome. He only ever won one championship. We should have had a second, but we didn't get it. 3 Stanley Cup Finals. Still lives in the Boston area. He's now an active marathoner, which is crazy. But he's a treasure. I'm glad we have him in number 33. Absolutely deserves to be in the rafters. We're gonna have another one next year. So 37 is going up there as well. I don't think anyone's gonna wear Patrice Bergeron's number either.
No, nor
And
should
he's up for the Hall next year.
That's
Or this year.
That's the Hall of Fame lock.
He's a top candidate for this next year. So
absolutely.
Yep. So that's what we had in hockey. We also had 2 in basketball. I wish we still had Jack for one of them, but let's do the other one first. So the Dallas Mavericks retired the number 24 of Mark Aguirre,
Good.
which is a very, very long time coming.
I guess maybe they were waiting until he got into the Hall of Fame, which God knows. Maybe this might actually help him get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly possible. The Basketball Hall of Fame is that enigma wrapped in a riddle, and luckily they don't get a whole lot of attention in terms of criticism. They also don't get a lot of attention in terms of visitors, but that's another story for another day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 3-time All-Star in Dallas, also played on those bad boy Detroit Pistons teams, and 1 year as a LA Clipper, which pretty much everybody did in the early 90s.
Whether they wanted to or not.
Yeah, whether they wanted to or not. But yeah, so 3-time All-Star, led the league in 4 categories total in his career, all in 1983-84. They were field goals attempted per game, 2-pointers attempted per game, and 2-pointers per game. That's the only time he led the league in anything. But the Dallas in the 80s was a mess. Roy Tarpley, Aguirre, there's just those teams should have been so much better. They had so much talent and way too much access to drugs is what happened with those teams. But yeah, so Aguirre's number 24 has been retired by the Dallas Mavericks. Congratulations. And the one I want Jack on for, Derrick Rose's number 1 was retired by the Chicago Bulls. In fact, Benny the Bull, who wears number 1, actually took off his jersey and is now going to be number 99 from now on. Reminiscent of Bork and Esposito, I suppose, with the Bruins back in the day. Ray Bork was number 7, and then they were retiring for Esposito, so he took his jersey off, and gave it to Esposito, and it was ranked 77 from then on. Yeah, so Derrick Rose is an interesting case. I think you and I have said that he's going to be the only MVP never to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. I no longer believe that, just because the Basketball Hall of Fame is
running out of people.
Run out of people. But Derrick Rose is very, very popular here. One of my good friends had several pieces of sports memorabilia in there, but the one he had most framed, he had a framed signed jersey of Derrick Rose. That's the first thing you saw when you walked into his office.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, MVP, blew out his knee, never really the same. But yeah, number 1 has been retired by the Bulls, who have not retired very many numbers. Certainly, I'm a Celtics fan. We retire every number. But
sometimes 5 letters.
What?
Sometimes 5 letters.
Yeah, we have retired 5 letters diagonally though.
Yeah.
So yes, but he's only the 5th number they've retired. So Derrick Rose is 1, Jerry Sloan's 4, Bob Love's 10, Michael Jordan's 23, and Scottie Pippen's 33. Those are the only numbers that have been now retired by the Bulls. So
also too, we should mention I haven't written anything up about it. I've just been too busy. But the Songwriters Hall of Fame had made their announcement. So I thought it was sort of interesting, and I might be missing some because I just have the headline here. So it's Taylor Swift, Alanis, Kenny Loggins, and then Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. I could just picture Gene Simmons trying to hit on Taylor Swift, not giving a crap that Travis Kelce is right there. That's the only person I can imagine thinking he still has a shot.
Paul Stanley's had an interesting year. So a
It's
lot has happened to Paul Stanley in the last year. So
other than, oh, you mean like in terms of Kiss getting in, or am I missing something?
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but like
The Kennedy Center.
Kennedy Center honors, and then he was in that like "What if rock stars were office workers" commercial.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, I thought the maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's been around doing a lot of random things this year. I just feel Paul Stanley. So
they're Kiss. I mean, those two especially. What
mhm.
did you say? I mean, we joke about Snoop Dogg not turning anything down.
Yeah, well, who's more likely to turn something down, Snoop Dogg or Kevin Hart?
Oh, geez. They're really lucky that they haven't really had to sort of like. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's Kevin Hart.
I think it might be Kevin Hart, and that's saying something.
But I mean, like pretty much everything offered to Kevin Hart is okay. We want you to be Kevin Hart.
hmm
I mean, I still think that Snoop is at some point. Luckily, he doesn't have to, but you got to figure that some feminine hygiene companies come approach him. Okay, you stick this up your nizzle so that it soaks up the hizzle.
Oh boy. Yeah. So by the way, the other folks who got in, Tricky got in. So Christopher Stewart, Tricky wrote Umbrella and Single Ladies, among other things. Walter Afanasieff, who wrote For All I Want for Christmas Is You, and Terry Britton and Graham Lyle, who wrote What's Love Got to Do with It. So
Who was worse, my Snoop or your Tina Turner? I think they're both bad. Those can be clipped.
I don't know. I stand by my Tina Turner. Two impressions enter, one impression leaves.
Yeah.
Tina Turner from Mad Max 2.
We've already been in an hour, so we should probably
get going to the other part. Yeah. So Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Baseball Hall of Fame. First off, congratulations to the two gentlemen who did get in. Carlos Beltran got in with 84.2% of the vote on ballot number 4. We mentioned earlier about paying penance, as per possibly a comment that Bill Polian made. Probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But so he had to pay his penance for his role in the Astros cheating scandal as one of the top minds behind it, but he's in nevertheless. And Andrew Jones, 78.4 on ballot number 9. I should put on my glasses for this because I'm reading off my notes. I'll just have to do that. And damn how I'm affecting the moneymaker, but oh well. So Andrew Jones, again, a fascinating case for me, not because of his stats, just because we're seeing a lot more ballot friendly in the last little while where you can sort of make those jumps. Andrew Jones had less than 8% in his year 1 and 2. And for him to get here is really indicative of some of the ballots that allowed him to stay on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine in this modern era what Dwight Evans and Lou Whitaker and Kenny Lofton would look like, because Kenny Lofton against Andrew Jones is not close.
Absolutely. Or even go further back with Gil Hodges, another one who wait a long time. But
so I'm the wine glass is coming out again.
Oh yeah. So let's do. You want to do your vent before we look at all these, or how do you want?
Yes, because I think this is a time to do it.
Yeah, do it.
I'm glad to see that the writers have decided that certain cheating is fine.
Yep.
Now, do I think Carlos Beltran is a Hall of Famer? 100% yes. Should he have been in before his 4th vote? 100% yes. Should he have gotten more than 84.2% of the vote? Yeah, he's an over 90 guy. He should have been, right?
I agree.
Manny Ramirez fell off the ballot with 38.8%. And much to my delight, a Pohe, that is the anthropomorphic pile of human excrement, Ryan Braun, only got 3.5% and is off the ballot.
Oh, I'm so waiting for it to hear what you thought about that.
Yeah. I know the guys in Milwaukee voted for him. Like, I get that. I'm just glad he's gone from the
Oh,
ballot.
if Chris was still here, or Milwaukee, yeah, he hated Braun.
Yeah.
Not as much as you, but
what? He doesn't call him the anthropomorphic pile of human excrement? Oh, I mean,
oh no, he does not.
but it's just fun to see what cheating they consider fine and fun, and what cheating is just thou shalt not pass, right? Because guess this ballot, and we'll get there, but this ballot is such that the guy who finished in fourth place now has an outside shot of getting to 75, in my opinion.
Which I never would have called.
And that person who finished in fourth place, I know we haven't talked about this whole thing. We can do it in a second.
Yeah.
That's Andy Pettitte, who only used once.
Well,
right?
did he admit twice? I think he admitted twice.
Did he say twice? It was originally
twice. He was on.
It was originally only once.
Okay.
The Bill Clinton I didn't inhale argument.
But he got in front of it right away. He's the only person I can think of who just said, "Yeah, I did this." And luckily, he did that at a point where he didn't get popped for a suspension. And yeah, let's talk about him right now, since that's fresh on our mind. Andy Pettitte moved up from, well, it was 27.9 last year to 48.5, and he already had a significant jump to get into the 27 from the year prior to that. And Pettitte looked dead in the water. I mean, up until the results came, I thought he was dead in the water. I think almost everybody did. And it's that combination of, again, a weak ballot. Some other people who I think who just said, there's always going to be those assholes who vote nothing. And 11 did. 11 submitted a blank ballot.
And another one of my favorites, the curly-haired boyfriend, submitted a ballot that only had Dustin Pedroia on it.
At least he says it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was upfront about it, but yeah.
I'll give him major props for that, because a lot of them don't. You know, only what was it? Usually it's hovering around that half mark. Okay, we'll sort of do that. And again, shout out to Ryan Thibodeau, who does all that great work on X to make sure that we all know about that. But that's the question that we have to ask. What changed? Nothing's changed. He's not out there talking. There's nothing going on towards that. He's an admitted PED user. So there's that. He just wasn't suspended for it.
And we know David Ortiz got busted in the 2003 list as well. And he's in the Hall of Fame. And there are a bunch of other people, Ivan Rodriguez and Jeff Bagwell, and lots of folks like that, Mike Piazza, who are comfortably in the Hall of Fame, who had at least suspicions of using, and they're in fine. But Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro and Manny Ramirez. Well, again, you and I have Manny Ramirez and A-Rod in a separate category, and Ryan Braun for that matter, because they all got busted after the testing was
right.
Also,
too, though, with McGwire, although McGwire did later admit it, these are, again, the key word here, it's the baseball writers, and they don't like looking stupid. And some of them excel at that anyway.
Have they realized that they are the baseball writers?
Some of them, I'm sure, do a very fine job. But they felt embarrassed by how they looked at McGwire, even though it was right there in the goddamn locker.
We've been through that so many times. They got pointed out in 1998 during the home run race. It was he had the locker, like the old school, like high school locker with like the main thing in the top shelf. Yeah. And right in the middle of the top shelf was the Andro. And can't remember which reporter asked him about it. And all these guys are voting now, like excoriated him for like violating McGwire's privacy. And now they're all like, "Oh, McGwire did drugs? No way!" Like there's no bigger group of hypocrites outside of Capitol Hill than the baseball writers. Like, as much as we just bitched about the football writers, other than a few who I think are idiots, Gary Myers, but other than a few who I think are idiots, like they generally have some idea what's going on. The younger ones don't, right? I still remember when we went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame a couple years ago,
Hmm?
and I can't remember what guy it was. I think it might have been Sam Huff. That I was looking at Sam Huff's bust. The guy's like, "Who even is that guy?" I'm like, "Oh my God. You're one of the writers covering the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. You don't know who Sam Huff is? Like, what are we doing here?" I mean,
Mhm.
if my son doesn't know who Sam Huff is, got it. He's 11. You're a baseball writer or a football writer in your 40s. You got to know who these people are. You're old enough to have the NFL films thing because there's nothing else to watch on a Saturday afternoon in February. But like these baseball writers are so full of shit on all of this and so double dealing and talk out of both sides of their mouths.
Yes, sir.
Again, Carlos Beltran 100% deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm not making that argument whatsoever. But the idea that his cheating is okay and Gaylord Perry's cheating is okay, right? The spitball and the screwball, and like all the shit he did to baseballs.
Mhm.
That's fine, right? Hoyt Wilhelm, like those guys, that's fine. That's just, the game. People who used greenies in the 70s and 80s, that's fine. But no, just this one thing we're going to draw the line on people when it was not being tested for and was actively, let's not lie. Bud Selig was thrilled that these people were using drugs to bring the long ball back.
Oh, you blew my mind when you're the one who told me that the only statue in Milwaukee was of Bud Selig.
The only statue in Milwaukee's in Bud
Blew-
Selig.
I still can't wrap my head around it. Well, I guess
They also have one of they also have one on the water on the river of Fonzie, but that's a whole separate thing. They actually had a warning with the cold snap. Please do not touch Fonzie. You'll lose skin because they're so cold. Because everyone comes up and takes a picture with them. It's right there. So, yeah,
imagine
I
losing
just.
your thumb over that. How ironic. Hey! We're not dating ourselves at all, huh?
Yeah, you're fine. Sit on it, Potsy. Anyway, yeah. So, but I'm just so whatever. Let's go through the rest of the ballot. I've said my piece here on this, but just
Well, the one who's going to get in probably next year, because other than Buster Posey, there's no who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer based on this ballot.
well, it's funny because Buster Posey has a lower WAR than Ryan Braun, and Omar Vizquel, but Vizquel's not getting in. Do you know who has the second highest WAR behind Buster Posey, and only by a little bit?
Uh,
Your eligibles next year.
oh, and the eligibles next year, the only one I can think of off the top of my head would be John Lester.
Lester's third.
Oh,
So Posey's WAR is 45. Lester is 43.4. At 44.3, believe it or not, is Brett Gardner.
Okay.
And then Ryan Zimmerman. And then Kyle Seager. And then we're getting into, I'm sure Asdrubal Cabrera's parents are going to be very excited that he was on the ballot. But Josh Reddick. So anyway, continue.
Yeah. Well, Chase Utley finished third, 59.1 on ballot number 3. 20% jump from last year. He's going to cruise in whether he should or not.
Yeah, and I don't know if Posey's going to get him. He's be damn close if he doesn't.
I was saying that he's not, and then I was sort of reminded, like, look at this ballot here. We just took Ramirez, which people are either going to vote for him or not. But so Ramirez is gone, and you inducted 2 players, and the only real person that has that kind of cachet, war be damned, is Buster Posey.
Yeah, I can see Lester hanging on. Brett Gardner's not going to make it.
Probably not. So if you're the type of person, some of these guys are, they're going to fill out 10 just to make up for the people who are filling out none.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that it's a lot easier because we could make a Hall of Fame of the best one and done players, and it's loaded. You build a dynasty with some of these players, and you already mentioned some: Whitaker, Lofton.
Kenny Lofton being one and done is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Whitaker too, but just moronic.
Oh, Delgado was one and done.
That's true. Dave Stewart was 2 and done.
Ted Simmons, who did get in, was one and done. I think through the veterans.
I'm looking at one and dones from a few years ago.
Oh, offline after too. We got to talk about that because I'm doing the whole thing for the baseball hall, the mock. So I've been already doing some prelim work, and then we got to set a year to when that's going to start. Already voluntold to be one of the voters.
I figured.
Yeah, I thought that was sort of a given.
Yeah.
But all right, let's just moving on here. So I don't want to say near and dear to my heart, but near and dear to where I live. King Felix. So Felix Hernandez makes that huge jump, and Chris and I, we were talking a lot about him. And ballot, he's now 46.1
on the second ballot.
On the second ballot, and if we were to just sort of like say this to our younger selves, and I'm saying our teen selves before sabermetrics really caught on, that okay, we're going to have a starting pitcher with a 169 and 136 record, and he's going to cruise into the hall. We would have thought, oh man, what must have been one of the best relievers ever. No, he was a starter. I don't have a problem with this, but if he gets in quickly, and he very well could, do they then go back at some players who I find very similar, like a Johan Santana?
Yeah. Johan Santana is incredibly similar.
Yeah, just wrong ballot, wrong time.
Yeah.
And they're not even that far apart in terms of when they played, but their ballots are seismically different.
Well, I mean, Jacob deGrom is going to change everything when he's up.
Well, Felix has sort of done that. He's the stepping stone to that. I mean, wins aren't sure as hell aren't what they used to be, and we just have to accept that. But we know a star when we saw him. We talked about the eye test with the Football Hall of Fame. We know that this guy was one of the best. Moving down from him, also too, he's going to be still the best pitcher now on this ballot. That's not changing.
No,
that's not going to change next year. With all due respect to John Lester, Alex Rodriguez, he made it to 40%, but he started around the early 30s, so low 30s.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll see. All the other ones are gone. Maybe he gets some sort of benefit. He's only in year what, 4?
5.
5? Is this 5 now?
Yeah, you know what? He can hug Derek Jeter all he wants on Fox. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, he could go back together with J-Lo for the 3rd time. It's not. It don't matter.
Manny's next at 38.8, falling off.
Well, do you think that Manny Ramirez will get a taste of the seniors ballot?
Yes.
I wonder. I really wonder.
I mean, if they go in the way they're going, he will at least get a shot at a seniors ballot. Yeah.
If you put him on, then maybe you throw him and Sosa. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Or McGuire again. I mean, McGuire is still in the game. Sosa.
Yeah, I mean, I think McGuire has a much better shot now than he did. So I also think Schilling may have a shot when we get to this whole thing.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking politics today.
I get it.
Bobby Abreu.
I don't think he's going to quite make it.
No, I love this guy, but like he's my first ballot Hall of Very Good. You know, Bobby Abreu, a bat would take forever, but you'd enjoy it. Well, I enjoyed every moment of it. Just the way he could work a pitcher, just that little small thing.
And he won a home run contest, so. Yeah.
I always forgot. Obviously, I forgot that. I don't remember that happening. 30.8% on ballot number 7. I mean, it's progress.
He'll get into the 50s and be off. And then he'll end up with more love during the seniors.
Well, Jimmy Rollins went to ballot number 5. He's moving up a bit to 25.4.
Yeah.
I think that's a big ask.
He's not going to make it.
Cole
Hamels. Well,
nice debut.
Yeah, very nice debut.
Yeah. That's pretty much where you want to start. If Felix gets in, who do you have higher, Cole or Lester?
I think I haven't looked at the stats, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hamels has the better record, but Lester has the better story. Lester was a major part of both the Red Sox and Cubs. Like the Cubs that won the 2016 World Series without Lester.
That's very true.
Also cancer survivor and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think I personally would take Lester over Hamels, but I would not be mad at anyone who took Hamels over Lester. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
like
sense.
They're close to me, and I realize I'm probably biased.
Well, we all are in our own little way.
But I mean, but again, there's someone else. Where did Cliff Lee? That was another one. Where's Cliff Lee on this thing?
Cliff Lee was he even on this ballot?
No, so Cliff Lee was one and done, and I kind of felt like he was in the same sort of thing with them because he was in 2020 when that ballot had Schilling and Clemens and Bonds, and like he just retired too soon. He had with 0.5 votes, like Alfonso Soriano 1.5. That the whole thing is just crazy. But anyway, yeah, Cole Hamels will get in eventually, and then Pedroia is definitely getting in.
Well, you had a very good jump. 20.7 on a second ballot. An MVP. An MVP, also a great story, also associated with one team. And regardless of what that team is, it's a plus.
And that team is the Red Sox where he won. That team's the Red Sox where he won multiple championships.
And was a very popular player, very well liked.
One of the few players to win Rookie of the Year his first year and MVP his second year. There aren't many guys who've ever done that.
So trending in the right direction. Mark Burley finally got to 20%, but too late. Yeah. Omar Vizquel. We've talked
here. That actually, of all the people on this ballot, the most likely person to get in from the senior committee that I see is Burley.
Was Burley? Interesting.
Because particularly if all the pitching stuff drops, everything else, he's the last of the war horses. The last of the guys who routinely put up 220, 230 innings a year, right? And he's going to look better and better as the stuff falls and falls.
Is a champion too. Can't forget that.
And guys like Tommy John's going to start looking better and better. Bobby Matthews is Bobby Matthews has 297 wins. Can you imagine if he had in 15 years? Like at some point, you're just be like, wait, this guy's 297 wins. How is he not in? If you know nothing else about him. So there are a bunch of guys who Jamie Moyer might have some good looks eventually. So I mean, and Pettitte's got 256. So.
And was a winner. His whole playoff thing was incredible.
Just Pettitte was awesome and terrifying as someone who went up against him. Anyway, speaking of people who have no chance, Omar Vizquel on the second last ballot.
I didn't even know about that Bat Boy scandal until recently.
I almost said he doesn't even have a puncher's chance, but I thought that might be gross. And then I said it anyway, backhandedly. Vizquel last year will be his last year, and he'll be off. Yeah, never to be seen again.
Yeah, the Bat Boy scandal. For those not aware, because I only just recently became aware of that. So when he was managing, I believe in Double A with Birmingham with the Barons, he pretty much bullied, allegedly. They settled out. Well, the guy was 22. But apparently with special needs too, autistic. So just to wash his back. I mean, I guess if you're 22 and you're a Bat Boy, does that make you a Batman?
I'm a bad man.
Yeah. Either way, I was reading this one article from years ago by USA Today. Omar Vizquel tells a story. I'd tell you all about it, but I can't because of legal things. All right. Great story. Great reporting by USA Today. Why they even put that there, I don't know. But yeah, Vizquel.
Because you got to read something when you're stuck in an airport for so many hours and months and days.
I would no. Omar. But that's it. That's over. Well, there's no point discussing it because it cannot happen. David Wright moved up on the second ballot, kind of doubled it to 14.8. The one I'm worried about, and I think I've been very, very big on my love for K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. He's not making any traction at all. So on a sports ballot, he's 11.8%.
You would have thought that when Billy Wagner got in, that would have helped him, but it just.
So I thought. No, doesn't seem to be. And Torrey Hunter, well, ballot number 6, and he's never had double digits. I haven't looked this up. I should AI or Grok this so that my wife's always on me to use AI a lot more often than I have been. And would he become the first to be under 10 and just survive since they changed that rule?
Maybe.
I mean, the thing is, Torrey Hunter was incredible. I don't know that I've got him in the Hall of Fame, but I got him higher than some of the people who were ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, I would always have wanted Torrey Hunter on my team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has two. There are two iconic memories I think of when I think of Torrey Hunter. One good, one bad for him. The one good one was in the All-Star game where he jumped up and robbed Barry Bonds of a home run.
Yep.
So that was awesome. Then Bonds, who never laughs or anything, came over and like grabbed him. That was really, really fun. The other one is when David Ortiz hit the home run to win the game against the Tigers, and Hunter was trying to get there and fell into the bullpen for the Red Sox, and he got his legs up like this, and the cop with his hands up right behind him, like celebrating. Those are the two things I think of most of Hunter in terms of play, but like one of the nicest, happiest, like most talented guys in the leagues. I'm glad he's still on, but yeah, he may just go the whole time. And the Heinz Ward of the baseball, Heinz Ward will be on the semifinals about the whole time.
I called that. I called it. I'm calling it again. 20 for 20 semifinalist. The ultimate, always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yep, you did.
Actually, what? No, not even a bride. He's a junior bridesmaid. Well, the aforementioned, those who did not make it, Ryan Braun, who all the people who want to be anti-Semitic and have the pro-Palestine, go there. No?
No.
I'm not. I should cut that out, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You called him an anthropomorphic piece of shit.
Yeah, I know he is, but I'm staying out of that. I'm staying out of that whole political quagmire. So
I kind of did.
Yeah, you did. So
kind of.
Who else we have here? We have Edwin Encarnacion.
Very good player. 1.4%. I guess sort of the DH thing did him in, but a guy over 400 home runs. So had some good years in Toronto. I remember him very well.
Yep.
Sin-Soo Choo, Matt Kemp. Man, Matt Kemp could have been an MVP.
Yep.
But wasn't. Only 0.5. Hunter Pence, Rick Porcello, both.
Rick Porcello is a Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah.
And gets 0.5%. It's crazy.
I think we'd have got a couple more. Maybe the person who voted for Alex Gordon didn't see Rick Porcello play. Nick Markakis.
Nick Markakis is a heck of a good player, too.
And we have 3 who didn't get any votes. So I'll have to make the all no vote team. Howie Kendrick, Gio Gonzalez, Daniel Murphy. If any one of those 3 might have got 1 vote, Daniel Murphy had a couple hot moments there, especially 2019, with the Nationals. But c'est la vie.
I'm looking at the people who got no votes over the last few years. I think those 3 guys are worse than most of them. So the year before was Hanley Ramirez, Fernando Rodney, and Ben Zobrist, and I think I take all 3 of those guys over.
I would do, but I guess I thought Murphy might get a. I don't want to say a pity vote, but maybe a local vote.
Jose Reyes got no votes too. James Shields, Jared Weaver, Jason Worth, Johnny Peralta.
Well, Reyes, he was he was suspended, was he not?
That's true.
Yeah.
Jacoby Ellsbury. So
Jacoby.
By the way, I just mapped out by WAR if we had the same number of people on the ballot as we did 2 years ago. So we had one fewer this year. Or I guess of this year, the last person on the ballot by war would be Trevor Bauer for next year.
Do you think they're even gonna?
No.
No.
So just by the way, the top people for war for next year: Buster Posey, Brett Gardner, John Lester, Ryan Zimmerman, Kyle Seager, Asdrubal Cabrera, Irvin Santana, Todd Frazier, Josh Reddick, Jake Arrieta, Scott Kazmir. Somehow I think Scott Kazmir is still playing somewhere. Jordan Zimmerman, Trevor Bauer, J.A. Happ would be the last of the people I had if we went all the way through.
What was
here.
Bauer's career war?
Bauer's career war was 21.1, same as AJ Happ's.
Okay.
Next one's Jay Bruce, Dexter Fowler, Pablo Sandoval, the Kung Fu Panda,
I love
Joaquim Soria, Starling Castro, Jonathan Lucroy, Alex Avila, Wilson Ramos, Tony Watson, John Jay, Dylan Batansis, Wade Davis, Derek Holland, Will Harris, Andrew Miller, Neftali Feliz, and with 4 WAR, John Axford is the last person eligible for the first time next year under their care things.
I believe the Axeman's a Canadian.
And very, very follically talented.
There you go.
Yeah, very
Bauer,
nice.
I think Bauer we can sort of close that book too. I was when that sort of came up and I learned that he was I checked to see what he's doing in Japan lately. Not too good.
Man, I think he's done.
So oh well, I mean you've got to be one hell of an asshole to get pretty much everything cleared. And then teams, and you were still decent, and 32 teams said, nah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so should we get here? Let's go quickly through the folks who have passed away because we're hour and a half in at this point. So, as we say, by the way, I've come up with a new way of doing this starting next time we do this. So we'll go through it quickly, but I think I'm just going to do a top 11, the 11 most interesting people to me, and go from there. Why 11? Because
goes to 11.
Yeah, goes, and I am El Evan in Spanish.
Oh,
that's why my jersey number's always been 11 whenever I can do it. So, yeah. So I will keep separate from that, of course, the beige mistress who has killed the youngest person in a long time, Miklo Dudas, the gold medal world championship canoeist who won the gold in the Moscow in 2014, died in his sleep at 34.
Oh, she was definitely responsible.
That one, like we have a lot of old folks, that one seems like much more likely here. So, all right. So just some folks who passed away. Uncle Floyd, lot of my friends from New Jersey cared a lot about him. He was also Good Morning Vietnam, among other things. Floyd Vivino passed away at the age of 74.
The actual Good Morning Vietnam guy?
Actual Good Morning Vietnam. No. He was in Good Morning Vietnam. I don't think he's the actual good one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but he had a huge fan club that included David Bowie and John Lennon, among others.
That's all I need to hear to learn that he's a legend.
Also was a write-in candidate for the governor of New Jersey on a couple of occasions, but he passed away at the age of 74. Here in Chicago, Terry Boers passed away. The Chicago Sun-Times columnist, one of the first sports radio legend here in Chicago, passed away at the age of 75. They did a whole thing all day to hear on the radio, lionizing him. But Boers and Bernstein on the score was a big deal, went from 99 to 2016. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 75. Also passing away, famous spy Aldrich Ames. Do you remember that guy?
No.
CIA counterintelligence officer who did counterintelligence. He was working for the Soviet Union. So he took a life sentence in 1994. He died at the age of 84. He went to jail at 53, died at 84. Also, the great comic artist, the guy who did the Incredible Hulk and the Spectacular Spider-Man, Sal Buscema, he passed away at the age of 89, just a legend in the comics world. Speaking of legends in the comics world, Scott Adams of Dilbert,
Okay.
and later became very politically involved, but he passed away at the age of 68. Also, Jeffrey Mason, a guy who produced 7 Olympic Games, 6 FIFA World Cups, and the Super Bowl. Also, very well known for being the guy who handled ABC's coverage of the Munich Massacre in 1972. Member of the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame, passed away at the age of 85. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened this past weekend for him. Pass on that one. And that one we can. And also the last member of our gang. Remember the our gang with Alfalfa and everything back in the 30s?
A lot of reruns of that.
Yeah, the last one, Sidney Kidbrick, died at the age of 97. So all of our gang is now gone.
Surprised there was any left.
Yeah, he came in a few years late into it, but yeah, he was 97 years old. He was active from 33 to 43. So he started his career in 1933. So, okay, folks passing away. Ronald Joseph, the bronze winning figure skater at the 1964 Innsbruck Games in pairs figure skating, passed away at the age of 81. Competed with his sister Vivian. They silver in the 1965 Worlds and the 1965 North American Champions. So he was, as I said, 85, I believe. Karen Vold, member of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, as the Natural Cowgirl Hall of Fame and Museum. She passed away at the age of 86. So she's a trick rider. Her dad is a Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame clown. So there you go. So we cover all the halls of fame here, my friend. Also, remember the very important person in horse racing history, Diane Crump, passed away at the age of 77. The first woman to ride in a pari-mutuel race in the United States. And her participation event was so contested, she needed a full police escort just to get to the Hialeah track.
Why?
Because there's a woman riding a horse in a race. So in 1970, she was the first woman ever to ride in the Kentucky Derby. So very, very important person in horse racing history. 228 at least career wins.
I can't even imagine protesting that, even back then.
I mean, the Boston Marathon, they were telling us women ran, their uterus was going to fall out. That one woman ran in 1963 and they tried to force her off the course.
I did read that.
So we were women couldn't have their own credit card till 72, dude. So.
All right, I guess.
Yeah, we don't do things like that.
I always say how old I am all the time, but I guess it's just something that seems so.
Yeah, it seems crazy, but that is the situation. So it was a bad week for hockey. Jack McGregor passed away, the founder of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Passed away at the age of 91. Was also a member of the Pennsylvania Senate and was in the U.S. Marine Corps as a captain. But he passed away at 91. Also passing away, Phil Goyette, center in NHL for 16 seasons with the Canadiens, Rangers, Blues, and Sabres. He won, I believe, 5 Stanley Cups. Is that correct? I think it's 5. Yeah, so he was 92 years old. And then we lost 2 Hockey Hall of Famers. Bob Pulford played for the Maple Leafs and Kings, elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 91, played from 56 to 72 with the teams, passed away at the age of 89, was on that 67 Leafs team that won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, they're running out. I watched, was it the Leafs Sabres game today?
Okay.
Yeah. So they had a bunch of the old Leafs out there, which was sort of made me feel really old because they were celebrating the 50th anniversary of Daryl Sittler scoring 10 points in a game, a record that was completely untouchable. And then so there's a bunch of his teammates from that time, and it's like, oh my God, I remember all their hockey cards, some of which I still have. And they all look, well, they're all in their 70s, older. There's Dave Tiger Williams who, for those who don't know that name, like that, he's the all-time. There's a record that's never going to be touched. All-time leader in penalty minutes.
Yeah.
And Laney McDonald with that signature mustache, as they introduce him, he just nods the camera, does the twirl. And of course, the Leafs lost 6-3. That part made me happy. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they got to do. So, yeah, but he passed away at the age of 89, Bob Pulford. So, also coached the LA Kings and Chicago Blackhawks after he played. And then I'd say the biggest name we lost since we last did this, Glenn Hall, passed away at the age of 94.
Legend.
Absolute legend. Yeah. Played with the Red Wings, Blackhawks, and Blues. Who do you think? I think he was mostly with the Blackhawks, right?
Yeah, mostly with the Blackhawks, but he had that. I don't want to say that second life because that's not quite right. But when the NHL expanded, it was a weird expansion for those first few years. I can't imagine it was great hockey.
Mm-hmm.
At the original 6 in one group, and then the new 6 in another.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Blues go to the first 3 Stanley Cups, not because they were any good, but it's because they were the best of those 6 expansion teams back before you could be an expansion team and become really good. And all this sure as hell wasn't that way up until, like, I guess really the Jags and the Panthers.
Yeah. Well, in hockey, it wasn't that way until Vegas and Seattle.
Sure as hell wasn't that way in Ottawa when I was living there.
It was not that way in Ottawa.
My God, did we see some crap?
Yeah. So, but he played in Glenn Hall was number 16 on Hockey News, did the 100 greatest hockey players in 1998. He was number 16. Mm-hmm. Most consecutive games started by a goaltender. He did 502 starts in a row. Can you imagine that happening these days?
No.
In 2017, they had the 100 greatest hockey players in NHL history. He was one part of the first group they named. A member of the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame, Chicago Blackhawks Hall of Fame, was elected to the Pro Hockey Hall of Fame in 1975. Won 3 Vezinas and a Conn Smythe and the Calder. And how many? He was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 All-Star games. But other than that, what did he do in hockey?
Exactly. Yeah, those Blues teams, they're not getting to those first 3 cups if he's not behind there.
He's
that team.
I think his very last game, the very last play of his career was giving up the goal to Bobby Orr, right?
I don't know.
Or was it the year after? No, that was 69-70. So he would have had one more year after that.
Yeah, it's just an incredible player, incredible life.
Yeah, 917 save percentage, 2.49 goals against average, 407 wins in his career. It's pretty good. So Godspeed to Glenn Hall. He passed away at the age of 94. From baseball, Wilbur Wood passed away at the age of 84. 164 wins for the Red Sox, Pirates, and White Sox. 3-time All-Star and led the AL in wins in 2 seasons with the White Sox in 72 and 73.
His career. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very good player. Never someone who would get in the Hall of Fame, but somebody you definitely wanted on your pitching staff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also passed away, Dave Giusti, one of the original Houston Colt 45s, also pitched with the Cardinals, Pirates, Athletics, and Cubs. All-Star in 73, a member of the 71 Pirates that won the World Series, and led the NL in saves in 71. He passed away at the age of 86. Zach Monroe, speaking of teams that don't have many people left, a member of the 1958 World Series champions New York Yankees. I went and looked that up, by the way. How many members of that Yankees team do you think are still alive?
I can't think of any who are still alive.
4, believe it or not. The oldest of whom is Bobby Shantz, is 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
I did not know Bobby Shantz was still alive.
Who else is alive? Like
3 other lesser known names. Bobby Shantz is the only one.
He won the 57 Cy Young. Like, he's one of those players he was one of those early Cy Young winners. And he had a good career, but you don't think of him as, oh, that guy won a Cy Young. I could be wrong on that.
Well, I mean, Zach Monroe only went 4-2 in his career. So, but let me see the 58 Yankees. I did this already, but let me see if I can figure out who it was. I believe it is Ryan Duran.
Mhm.
No, he's dead. Well, I don't want to go through this all right now, but like that team, just by the way, had Casey Stengel as manager, Ralph Hook, Hank Bauer, Mickey Mantle, Eno Slaughter's on that team.
Oh, he's still around there. Okay. I love that name.
Uh,
Enos Country Slaughter.
Enos Country Slaughter, Yogi Berra, Elston Howard, um, uh, Daryl Johnston is on that team. Moose Scourin. I think Tony Kubek still alive? Yes, Tony Kubek is still alive as well. Four-time All-Star, three-time World Series champion. Kubek is 90. Bob Turley, Virgil Trucks is on that team.
What a great name.
Yeah, Bobby Shantz is 100, three-time All-Star, AL MVP, eight-time Gold Glove winner, AL wins leader. He was never a
Oh, yeah, I looked it up, but he was the MVP. So
he was
that
the MVP, but
yeah.
never the Cy Young winner,
Yeah.
which seems hard to do.
Well,
They
we'll
also
talk
had
about
Don.
Kevin Ward then.
They also had Don Larson and Whitey Ford on that team. I mean, how did that team possibly win the World Series?
Imagine, and the thing is, Larson wasn't even that great a player, like in the regular seasons.
True.
Like that.
But yeah, Zach Monroe was 94. Okay, moving to football. Frank Pitts, a member of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl IV, wide receiver, passed away at the age of 82. Two-time AFL champion with the Chiefs as well. Played from 65 to 74, Chiefs, Browns, and Raiders. Billy Truax, remember the Super Bowl winning Super Bowl VI Dallas Cowboys. Tight end, he passed away at the age of 82. Hoot Gibson, one of my favorite names in football history. He played with the Chargers and Raiders from 61 through 65. He passed away at the age of 86. Claude. I never knew Hoot Gibson's real first name was Claude, but there you go. Former defensive tackle, very sad. Kevin Johnson died in a homeless encampment in Los Angeles at the age of 55. Drafted by the Patriots in the fourth round, never played for the Pats. Ended up playing for the Eagles and Raiders, and then eventually the Orlando Predators and Los Angeles Avengers. He won the Arena Bowl in 1998, but yeah, ended up on hard times and was hit in the back of the head in a homeless encampment in LA.
Brutal.
Member of the 91 Redskins championship team, Travis Curtis, passed away at the age of 60, a defensive back. Also played for the Cardinals, Vikings, and Jets. And two-time Super Bowl champion, safety Chet Brooks with the San Francisco 49ers, passed away at the age of 60. And he played for them from 88 to 90. And the biggest names, two more in football. Clendon Thomas passed away at the age of 90, played with the Rams, Steelers, and Bears, but better known, second team All-Pro in 63, but two-time national champion in college with Oklahoma, member of the College Football Hall of Fame on those 55 and 56 back-to-back champions. He passed away at the age of 90. Defensive back and flanker and halfback in his career. But the biggest name in football passed away, of course, John Brodie. Passed away at the age of 90. Played San Francisco 49ers from 57 through 73. Was the NFL's most valuable player in 70. The comeback player of the year in 65. First team All-Pro in 70. Second team in 65. Two-time Pro Bowler. Led the NFL in passing touchdowns twice, passing yards 3 times, passer rating once, completion percentage twice. Niners retired his number 12, member of the Niners Hall of Fame. Yeah, just College Football Hall of Famer. He'll never be in the professional hall, but
Very good player, nonetheless. A lot of good. The Niners were really known for what they did in the 70s, but a lot of what they were able to do was because of John Brodie.
Yeah. Also, after he retired, became a professional golfer on the senior PGA.
Okay.
Had one win on the Tour's champions. So
It's pretty goddamn good.
still pretty good.
Yeah.
So he was on the senior tour from 85 to 98, had one win and 12 top 10 finishes, winning $735,000, which is probably more money than he made in the NFL in his 16 years.
Probably.
He made the U.S. Open twice, but missed the cut. He made the U.S. Open twice. Once in 1981, makes sense. Once in 1959. 59 and 81 are the only two times he was there. So longest gap, still the longest gap for time between open appearances. So there you go. 31,000 passing yards, which back then was a lot.
I'm still stuck on that 59 and 81. That is,
Yeah, 22 years apart.
God. And yeah, again, to your point, 30,000 passing yards is incredible for that number.
Yeah, for that
That
time
era.
period.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone else I have is in music. We'll start with Sly Dunbar, half of the rhythm section of Sly and Robbie. Also, the guy who wrote Underneath It All, which was covered by
No.
yeah, what's her name? No Doubt. Yeah, you said No Doubt. Yeah, so he wrote the reggae version that was covered, but he passed away at the age of 73. Also passing away, Bobby. Oh, I forgot. Well, I had Sly was in the wrong place. We had one wrestler. Do you know anything about Bobby Duncombe, who passed away at the age of 81?
Not a whole lot. Actually, I thought he passed away a long time ago. And maybe I thought that because he had his son, Bobby Duncombe Jr., who died a long time ago. Yeah. From what I remember reading about him, because he was a little bit before I started watching, he had some title shots against a lot of the WWF champions, and like I think against Backlund, some in AWA. Like after he passed away, WWE Vault, which is they'll pull up all sorts of interesting things that you read about and didn't think they actually had any footage of. But yeah, they put something where he was up against Hulk Hogan in the AWA in 82. But just one of those guys who had a fairly long career. Unfortunately, had to bury his son.
Yeah,
A long time ago. So you just shouldn't outlive your son by 20 years.
yeah. He also was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 13th round of the 67 draft and appeared for four games of them in 68.
I didn't know that, but yeah, he's certainly he was a very large man.
Letterman with the West Texas A&M Buffaloes football team. So that seems like a made up name for a sports movie. West Texas A&M.
But my favorite thing, though, what I was thinking about his kid, though, WCW in their infinite stupidity, they brought in Master P, if you remember him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Master, yeah. But at that point, the wrestling fandom of WCW was kind of more of a Southern promotion. Let's just they weren't really digging Master P too much. So when they brought in a group to go up against him, it was Bobby Duncombe Jr., Barry Windham, his brother Kendall, and Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
And then they performed as the West Texas Rednecks and did a song called Rap is Crap.
Oh, nice.
That actually got they actually got some radio airplay on some of the country stations.
Nice.
And then they all got cheered because the fans weren't really into Master P and didn't know who he was, despite the fact in his group was Rey Mysterio. It just didn't work. They made Rey Mysterio bad because Rey liked his rap. He did not support crap.
Well, he passed away at the age of 81. We're down to the last five for all music. Andrew Bodnar, English bass player, best known with his work with Graham Parker in the band The Rumor. Wrote Nick Lowe's I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass.
Oh, okay.
Also, the thing you will remember Andrew Bodnar most from is one of the cooler bass lines in any song. Elvis Costello's Watching the Detectives.
Oh, love that. Okay.
Got that kind of reggae beat to it. That's Andrew Bodnar doing that. He came up with that on his own. But he passed away at the age of 71. Also, if you ever saw This Is 40, he played himself in that movie. So,
I was going to wonder if he was in that movie. Yeah,
he was. Yeah. So
I love that bit by Graham Parker. Oh yeah, my albums used to sell, and now they don't.
So, also passing away, Kenny Morris, the drummer of Susie and the Banshees, the first drummer they had. Played with them from 77 through 79 before leaving and then becoming a solo and playing with a whole bunch of other folks. But he passed away at the age of 68. Rob Hurst, the drummer from Midnight Oil, the original drummer. Rob Hurst passed away at the age of 70. He and his friends Jim McGinney and Andrew James or Bear James performed together under the original name of Schwampy Moose, playing Beatles covers, as they would have been 15, 16, 17 years old, and then became Midnight Oil.
Wait a minute. Which guy was then the lead? Peter Garrett, I believe his name is.
Yeah. So McGinney's the keyboardist.
No, but I'm trying to picture that guy pretending to be a Beatle. That's how.
Yeah. So, I mean, his bed was burning, so maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Also passed.
And then he went into the government, became ineffective.
That is true. What was that Blue Sky Mine? That's another good song by them. Anyway, also passing away, Jim McBride, the country music writer, probably best known for Chattahoochee. You know the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I've been sitting on down in the Chattahoochee, which they won the Country Music Award Song of the Year back in 1994. I actually watched that thing. But his songs have been recorded by, among others, in this Alabama, Trace Adkins, Johnny Cash, Tammy Cochran, Diamond Rio, Crystal Gayle, Jack Green, Waylon Jennings, George Jones, Toby Keith, Chris Christopherson, Jerry Lee Lewis, Lone Star, Reba McEntire, Willie Nelson, the Oak Ridge Boys, Johnny Paycheck, Charlie Pride, Randy Travis, Conway Twitty, and others. So other than that, nobody knew who he was. But he passed away at the age of 78. He also wrote Who Says You Can't Have It All and Someday and Chasing That Neon Rainbow and a bunch of other stuff. He's a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame as well. But he passed away at the age of 78. And finally, the biggest name to pass away since we last met, it's been a couple weeks now, Bob Weir. I'm pretty sure we didn't do last time.
Did not, no. Yeah. Another big football fan I didn't know about. Niners fan.
Yeah.
How many original Grateful Dead left are there?
That's a good question.
Because I know he was still touring up until recently, but I think it was like just Bob Weir and Friends or something like that.
Was it the other? They were with the other ones for a while. I don't know when that all stopped. I'm trying to get to the bottom of my God. This Grateful Dead page is forever. I'm trying to scroll. It's not going to get me there. So let's see here. Phil Lesh is so Jerry Garcia's gone. Bob Weir's gone. Phil Lesh is gone. Bill Kreutzmann and Rob McKernan. Let's see here. So Bill Kreutzmann. He is still alive. He's 79. And Rob McKernan. Oh, he died in 1973. That's why he got replaced. So I didn't know that off the top of my head. But yeah, so some of these guys have been around for a long time. But yeah, Phil Lesh, I'm sure Phil Lesh passed away, right? Yeah, 2 years. 2 years ago. We covered that one.
Right.
So yeah, so it just looks like Kreutzmann's the last one left. Mickey Hart's still alive? Mickey Hart's still alive too.
Okay, so he's pretty much the last one of the main group, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was just thinking about this. So it's sort of segueing away, but going back to this, I can't imagine Taylor Swift and Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley discussing their writing style. That's got to be interesting. So Taylor, what's Blank Space is really about? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's whatever. Love Gun. That's about my dick.
I was made for loving you, baby. I just want to get laid. Although, to be fair, Taylor Swift did just write Wood, which is about someone else's dick.
Okay. There's a Blank Space. Isn't that about a feud?
I believe so. I don't know the reason for too many Taylor Swift songs. So,
My favorite thing with Paul Stanley, I know I've said this before, but Gene Simmons is trying to convince Paul Stanley to sort of like go more of a grunge feel in the early 90s. And Stanley saying, like, why? We're not depressed. What are we going to write about when our maid does a bad job?
So Blank Space is apparently about the media's reaction to her dating life.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I knew you were in trouble when you walked in. I think it's about Jake Gyllenhaal or someone like that. I know maybe it's not Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know. I'm not gonna. That's a Jeopardy category I would have just avoided.
If she sings all about her exes, does she? Either way, well deserved. As our friend Paul Lawrence said to me, she's not meant for you, Kirk. You're not supposed to get it.
I feel that every time I see the name ASAP Rocky with the $sign in it. I don't even know what he sings, but every time I see his name in anything, I'm like, I'm not supposed to know who that is.
He's playing Climate Pledge recently, or not recently, this summer. Pauline and I were looking to see who we might want to go see if we're still in Seattle this summer. Like, we had a great concert series last year. This year, we're not really feeling it based on what's coming.
Our little town next to us, Elk Grove, Illinois, always has a great concert series. And this year's concert series for 2026, we have Jake Owen, country singer Jake Owen, then Fits in the Tantrums, Foreigner, Smash Mouth, and Air Supply, which for like a random little town in Illinois having 5 concerts back to back to back, that's not bad. Although I don't know about Smash Mouth because the lead singer's gone, so I'm not sure who's singing that. But Fits in the Tantrums is pretty exciting.
Yeah. I almost lost my shit because I'm walking home and I live right across a theater called the Paramount, and they get a lot of decent shows. I think I've told you about some of them, and they had. And I was, because this was after I checked to see who was going to be playing there. Like, is there anyone I really want to see? And I've sort of hummed and hawed at a couple of them, but it said playing in May, Nile Rodgers and Chic. And it went, so this first time I walk out to the box office, like, Nile Rodgers is coming. She said, like, no, he's not. And then the other person next to him, oh yeah, he is, but it's for a private function. The marquee then.
That sucks.
Yeah, like that's the hell. I would have gone to see that. But anyway, we've been doing this for a couple hours. It's always getting fucked up. Thank you to Jack, Ron, and Chris for coming on and doing it very last minute. Because we all sort of had something to say about Bill Belichick, and I think there's going to be a lot more that's going to be said over the next few days. There's so much else that we've sort of done here at Non-Hall of Fame. Thank you again to Chris, as we got the Bonnie Blair interview. That's up. And as my webmaster said, as he was putting it up, she's a very happy, bouncy person, isn't she?
She is, like, crazy.
And she is. And she,
to be honest, I'll tell you, I have it open in one of my other things right now. I have gotten, because of other stuff, I've only gotten about 7 minutes in at this point. So,
okay.
So I haven't gotten to see the rest of it as of yet.
Yeah,
that is something I'll do before bed this evening. I'm about to do dishes. I'll have it on in the background.
I was kind of fanboying out a little bit because it's.
I completely understand.
Yeah, so I hope I did okay. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I thought my intro was top notch, but either way, I was.
Well, I've said my piece on the Hall of Fames tonight. So
there you go. There you go. So check that out when you have a chance. The United States Athletic Hall of Fame ballots have been sent. We've got a few in already. You
should send them my way so I can update stuff.
Yeah, I was waiting till I had a bunch of them, but now I've got about
just
7.
Send them now. I don't care.
Okay, I'll send them. I'll send them tomorrow. The ones I have.
Fine.
And hopefully we're gonna get about 25. That's my goal. 25 quality people in this ever-growing, evolving, and changing committee.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some people that you're reaching out to.
Yep.
Yep.
So I have a couple more I need to send stuff to. I'm gonna get to that this weekend.
Yep. So we've got that. So that'll be on www.theusahof.com. Look at that for that soon. The Rock list is finally updated on Not in Hall of Fame. I finally got that done, which basically means I'm gonna have to change all that very, very soon, because I'm sure that means they're gonna put out the nominees for 2026 any day now. And like usual, we never know when. But they're great.
They'll do it at 7:30 in the morning and tell you at 6:45.
But you know, they really know how to market themselves, because they're wonderful tie-ins with Dancing with the Stars and American Idol. That really taps into the audience you have. Well done, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well done.
Yeah. So, all right, man, we got to get out of here.
We do. All right. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, make today count, because it never comes again. Take care.
See you guys.